Hey, subscribers, 17 of you. Hello, how are you? It's Rita Reads and talks about books while putting on makeup. I'm happy to see you here today. I'm still in my neck brace. Look at me, aren't I cool? So, the doctor says I can take it off for short periods of time if I'm mindful of no BLTing, bending, lifting, twisting. So I'm going to take it off, have a little bit of freedom. My neck wound is recovering nicely. Doesn't even need too much makeup. And I'm going to talk to you about a new book while I put on my makeup. And today I'm going to talk to you. I actually read 3 books by this author recently. It's his name is Harlan Coben. I think that's how you say it. I'm actually not totally sure. It's Harlan Coben's HARLANCOBEN. Apparently, he is huge. He's written like 135 books, maybe more. I had never heard of him. He's like as big as like James Patterson or Stephen King or something. I'd never heard of him, never read any of his books. And then one day I saw this book called A Boy in the Woods, or The Boy from the Woods, or something like that. And I saw it on Audible and I thought, well, that sounds like a good listen. And I listened to it. And it was really good. And it was this book about this girl who had gone missing, and people were trying to find her and figure out where she had gone, and it took you in this whole spider web of mystery. They're kind of like mystery thriller novels. And I liked it. And so I liked it enough that I thought, well, I'll read another one by the same author. And after that, I read one called, let me look here because I have already forgotten. It was called Missing You. And that one was good too. And that one, Missing You, was it was a good one about a lady detective, a police detective, and she had her father was murdered by a mob guy some years back, and then they never really got to the bottom of why the mob guy had murdered her dad, who was also a cop. And then at the same time her boyfriend had disappeared. So she starts this online dating app because she wants to start dating again. And sure enough, what does she see? Aha, her old boyfriend is on there. And it turns out to be this whole kidnapping ring and extortion and blah blah blah. And it's a really really good story in it, and it just keeps you going. But those aren't the ones I want to talk about today. The one I want to talk about today was the one I just read, called Runaway. And Runaway was a seriously good book. Runaway was the story of a really nice family that lives in Manhattan. Even though they had 4 kids, they stayed in Manhattan. It's a man and his beautiful wife. The wife is a pediatrician named Ingrid, and the man is some kind of a financial guy, helps people invest their money or something that the vast majority of us would never know about, because I guess, yeah, I mean, we're not rich, so we don't know about financial investments and such. So anyway, this this family has, they're kind of an ideal family. The husband and wife love each other. I mean, one of the reasons I love this book so much is the love story between the husband and the wife is just absolutely beautiful. They adore each other. They're best friends. They tell each other everything. They just kind of live to be around each other. They love their kids. They're getting to an age where they're empty nesters and the kids are all going off to college and everything is going great, except the daughter runs away. She's in college and something happens to her in college, and she never admits what it is that happens to her until the very end when you find out. But something bad happens to her, and her life takes a turn for the worse. And in fact, she gets a new boyfriend after the bad thing. And it's college, so you can imagine what the bad thing is that happens to her. It's the same bad thing that happens to all kinds of girls in college. And here's what I'm going to say to those girls who that bad thing happens to in college: don't let it define you. Okay. I mean, it happens. These kinds of things happen and they're horrible, but we should never let the worst thing that happens to us define us. Get help, move on. don't let yourself become a victim to the extent that you can't live your life anymore. That's a shame. Then the perpetrator of these horrible things wins, I think. I don't know. Maybe that's shallow, but that's how I feel, to be honest. So anyway, so she has this bad thing happen to her, and then to kind of make herself feel better, she gets this new boyfriend, they think, Aaron. And Aaron's kind of a shady dude. And Aaron does a lot of drugs, and he gets her into drugs. And in fact, she gets hooked on drugs. And she gets so hooked on drugs that she drops out of college and stops interacting with her friends and stops interacting with her family completely and starts living life on the streets of New York as a total runaway, living in drug houses and in squalor. It's really a terrible situation. It's every mother's nightmare. You read it, and I mean, honestly, it kind of gets me choked up thinking about, because they were the perfect family. They did nothing wrong. And that's one thing as a parent, you always think I don't know, sometimes we get a little judgy, or you think you have control over these things, but we don't always. They did everything right. Something terrible happened to this kid. She internalized it so deeply she couldn't escape from it. She fell into this world of addiction, and now she's living on the streets of New York. Well, no one has seen her in a long time, and the husband and wife decide that the best way to deal with her at this point, she's stolen all their money lots, she's disappointed her siblings, stolen their money, and just done a lot of really bad things. They love her. They'll never stop loving her, but they can't interact with her. So they say, we're going to let her find her way. Hopefully she'll come back to us, but there's nothing we can do right now. So that's what they do. Till one day, the dad's in the park. He's in Strawberry Fields in Central Park, and he sees a busker. Great word. Love that word. If you're not familiar with that term, a busker is a person who does something for money, like public art, like singing or dancing, or something in the subways or out in the streets in big cities, where they put out a hat or they open up their guitar case and they do some public performance for money. That's called busking. So she's a busker, and she's singing Beatles songs right there in Strawberry Fields, where there's a tribute to John Lennon. She's singing songs, and her dad sees her, and he chases her down and says, hey, Paige, that's her name, Paige, come back to us. We'll do anything. We want to help you. We miss you, blah, blah, blah. And tries to get her. Well, she runs away. So he has this big scuffle. He sees Aaron, and they have this big scuffle. And he goes viral because it gets recorded on the internet, of course. And it's rich guy beats up vagrant, and he goes viral for all the wrong reasons and hooks up with this great lawyer who's a recurring character in Harlan Coben's books. Her name is Esther. I can't remember her last name, but I love her because she's an old New York Jewish lady. And as you know, I'm an old New York Jewish lady. And so I love her because she's got the accent that all my grandparents had. She's got the same attitude. She talks all about the getting a little nauseous. Just an absolutely phenomenal character. And I love her. She's a great lawyer. And I always hope she shows up in Harlan Coben's books. She's not in all of them. I wish she were. So anyway, she's his lawyer, and they figure out a way to get him acquitted for the assault charges. But they're still searching for the daughter. Well, when they're searching, they go to this drug den, try and see if they can track her down, and get this. The mom gets shot at the drug den and goes into a coma. Now, no one knows why she got shot. Like, what? They were just going there to kind of figure out where she was. Why did things get so crazy? Well, when they're at the hospital and they are talking to the cops say, the perp, the guy who shot her, says, ask the mom when she comes out of the coma. She knows why she got shot. She deserved it. We did it in self-defense. So it turns out several days later that the kid, Aaron, who is Paige's boyfriend, turns up dead. Then it turns out that there's several other kids who are turning up dead. And they all have this one link to this website where people go to find out about their genetic history. So now things are getting crazy. And one thing I love about these Harlan Coben books is they get crazy like that. You go down these wormholes where you're thinking, how is he going to pull all this together at the end and make this make any sense? But somehow he does it. Now, I can't tell you everything because then it would spoil the secret. And like I said, I never guess anything. So it was a complete surprise to me in the end. Though I imagine for readers who are more astute than me, which is probably most of you, you would have seen it coming a lot sooner. But for me, it was a total surprise to find out what had happened. But along the way, you meet this incredible cast of characters. You meet two young lovers who grew up together in the foster system. That's a theme that seems to run through a lot of Harlan's books. Well, a lot. I read three of them. It ran through all three of them. People who grow up in the foster system and the damage it does to them, but also the great bonds it brings them to each other. And so you meet these two young adults who grew up in the foster system. One of them becomes involved in this crazy cult, and one of them who becomes a hitman, and they're working together and doing the killing of a lot of these people who are ending up dead. So you meet them and you grow to care about them. And, it's odd the way they can twist your loyalties, the way the author can twist your loyalties. You get to know the dad, Paige's dad, and you get to know his mom while she's in a coma. And again, remember I told you I love the relationships in the book. I truly love the relationships in the book. And one thing that's kind of interesting that happens here is that in the book, the dad and the mom, Ingrid, and I can't remember the dad's name, but I didn't like it. I think I didn't like his name, and that's why I can't remember it. But the dad and the mom have this incredible wait, I don't want to say open. That sounds like they were like having affairs. It's not an open relationship. They're open with each other. They're like best friends. They tell each other everything. Well, his Ingrid, the wife, has a sister, and the sister tells him, "Listen, bud, you think you know everything about your wife, but she had an entire life before she met you, and don't forget it. She had an entire life before she met you, and she did some crazy things that you don't know about." And it all comes back around to that at the end. Now, I can't tell you much more. I can tell you that the mystery hinges on who is killing the people, all the people, why. Why was Ingrid, the mom, shot? How was she involved in this being self-defense, as the guy who shot her said? What happened to Paige at the college? How do they all come back together as a family at the end? And I can tell you that it is a blissfully happy ending, and that in fact every book that I've read so far by Harlan Coben has a good happy ending with resolution that makes sense. They don't just quickly wrap it up and be done with it like they do with some mystery books. And I highly, highly recommend that if you haven't read a mystery novel by Harlan Coben and you're interested in something that will be entertaining, but also make you think, that's well written. I mean, it's good dialogue, it's good writing, it's good action, it's good themes. I mean, everything about it is good writing. It's not it's not dumb. It's good writing. That you pick one of these books up. The audiobooks, I listened to The Boy in the Woods. I think I said that before. I listened to that one, and those are read by Steven Weber, and he's a really good reader. So I recommend those too. Harlan Coben. The first one I'm recommending is the most recent one, called Runaway. But I also recommend The Boy in the Woods, or The Boy from the Woods, or something like that, and Missing. Thanks for watching. Happy reading. Happy putting on makeup. I hope you have a great day. Hey, did you notice something? I didn't even try. I'm not going to do that again. I learned my lesson. Thanks. Have a good day.